It fit perfectly, too perfectly for a man who had never owned anything tailored. The clerk called their names, and they stepped forward together. Eleanor wore a cream-colored dress that matched the silver in her hair. She carried no flowers, no veil, only a calm determination that seemed to silence the room. The vows were spoken quietly, almost like a business transaction. When the officiant finally said, "You may kiss the bride," Eleanor merely extended her hand. Mark hesitated, then shook it gently. The clerk smiled awkwardly and stamped the papers. It was done. "Welcome to your new life, Mr. Davis," Eleanor said, her tone unreadable. Outside, the rain had started again, fine and steady. They shared a silent car ride to her estate, miles away from the noise of the city. The iron gates opened automatically, revealing a mansion that looked more like a museum than a home. White columns, marble steps, windows so large they reflected the gray sky. Mark stepped out of the car, suitcase in hand, his heart pounding. Eleanor gestured toward the housekeeper waiting by the door. "This is Mrs. Porter. She will show you to your room." Her voice was polite but distant. "Dinner is at 7. Please be punctual." Then she disappeared down the hall, leaving him in the echo of his own footsteps. The room he entered was larger than his entire apartment. A king-size bed, antique furniture, a window overlooking the manicured gardens. The sheets smelled faintly of lavender. He placed his suitcase on the edge of the bed and stood there, unsure whether to sit or leave. Everything was beautiful but cold, untouched by warmth. That night, dinner was served in a long dining room that could seat 20. Only 2 places were set. Eleanor sat at the far end, dressed in silk, her expression composed. The meal was a parade of perfection: roast duck, asparagus, wine, but the silence between them felt heavier than the chandelier above. Mark cleared his throat. "I should thank you for the opportunity." She looked up briefly. "You do not need to thank me. You signed a contract. You fulfill your part, one fulfill mine." Her words were simple, yet something in them carried a quiet ache. "Do you always treat people like business?" he asked softly. Eleanor's fork paused midair. "It is easier that way." The rest of the meal passed without another word. Later, when Mark returned to his room, he noticed a sealed envelope on the nightstand. Inside was a black credit card and a note in precise handwriting, "For necessary expenses. Do not ask for more than you need." He stared at the card, feeling both grateful and insulted. Down the hall, he could hear faint piano music drifting through the corridors. The melody was slow, sad, the kind that clung to the heart. He followed the sound quietly until he reached a half-open door. Inside, Eleanor sat at a grand piano, her back straight, her fingers moving over the keys with practiced grace. She did not see him. The music stopped suddenly, as if she had sensed his presence. "Can I help you, Mr. Davis?" she asked without turning around. He hesitated. "I did not know you played." "I used to," she said softly, standing. "Before I learned that silence earns more respect." She walked past him, her perfume faint and cold like winter air. Mark stood alone in the empty hall, the echo of the piano lingering long after she was gone. That night, as he lay awake in the enormous bed, he realized that the mansion was filled with everything money could buy except peace. And somehow, that emptiness felt familiar. User viet fan 4 bam sat tai lu, content mao 4.txt 800 token. Kong viet tren canvas. Tpanoi fan 3, no dong not nan vat vabio I can, twinoi john sa chofu hop. Chy van fong ky thuit viet tra lai ket qua de lam noi dung YouTube chu kong phi bien tap nu dao dien. Noi dung kong doc viet tat kak tu ma phi viet day du de voiceover ai doc tot doc dot ni dung ding chuen thun a with circumflex m ton viet ton 1 don kong song dong va de noi dung trong cap down goak vong. Vi du noi dung chuen thun a with circumflex m ton. Kong tra ra code, JSON, net, PGSQL. TTC Vit Bang Ting ANH assistant. Days turned into weeks inside the Brooks estate, each one marked by quiet routines and distant glances. Mark woke early, dressed in suits that were chosen for him, and attended events where his job was simply to stand beside Eleanor. Reporters called them the city's strangest newlyweds. She smiled for cameras, her hand looped lightly through his arm, but the moment the flashes stopped, the distance between them returned like a wall rebuilt brick by brick. One afternoon, Eleanor's assistant, a sharp young woman named Clara, handed Mark a folder labeled Schedule of Appearances. 5 charity galas, 2 business dinners, and a weekend trip to New York. Every moment of his life was now part of a plan. Mrs. Brooks prefers order, Clara said politely. It keeps things predictable. Mark smiled faintly. Predictable is one word for it. When he told his mother about the marriage, he kept it vague. It is complicated, he said. She only replied, just do not lose yourself, Mark. Her words followed him like a quiet warning. On the night of their first public event together, Eleanor emerged from her suite in an emerald gown that shimmered under the light. For a second, Mark forgot to breathe. She caught his expression and said dryly, "You look like you are about to object." He shook his head. "No, I am just surprised. You look different." A flicker of amusement touched her lips. "Appearances are part of the business, remember?" The gala was held at the city's art museum, attended by investors, politicians, and journalists eager for gossip. As they entered, murmurs rippled through the crowd. "That is the young husband," someone whispered. "Must be quite the deal." Mark felt every eye on him, every judgment heavy on his shoulders. But Eleanor moved with unshakable poise. When a board member made a cutting remark about toy boys, she only smiled and replied, "Mr. Davis has more integrity than most men twice his age." The man blushed and stepped back. Mark glanced at her, caught off guard by the defense. For the first time, he saw something human behind the armor. Later that evening, as the orchestra played softly, a server stumbled, spilling red wine across Eleanor's sleeve. The room froze. The server began to stammer apologies, terrified. Without thinking, Mark took the linen napkin from his table, gently dabbed her arm, and said quietly, "It is just fabric. You are fine." Eleanor looked at him, startled, as if no one had spoken to her that gently in years. The whispers resumed, this time softer, almost approving. When they returned home that night, the car ride was silent until Eleanor said, "You handled yourself well." He shrugged. "I only did what anyone decent would do." "That," she replied, "is rarer than you think." Days later, while reading in the library, Mark found a framed photograph hidden behind a stack of books. It showed a younger Eleanor beside a man he assumed was her late husband. They were laughing, carefree, unposed. He placed it back carefully, feeling a strange ache in his chest. That evening, Eleanor found him in the garden, standing by the fountain. "You are adjusting better than I expected," she said. "Maybe I am learning," he replied. She nodded, her expression unreadable. "Do not learn too much. This was never meant to feel real." The wind carried her words away, but they lingered in his mind long after she was gone. In that moment, under the soft hum of cicadas and the glow of the garden lights, Mark realized something was changing, something neither of them had planned for. User Viet Fan 5 Bam Sat Tai Lu, Content Mao 4.txt 800 Token. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Teep Noi Fan 4, No Dong Not Nan Vat Va Boi Can, Twinoi John Sa Cho Fu Hop. Chy Van Phong Ky Thuet Viet Tra Lai Ket Qua De Lam Noi Dung YouTube Chu Kong Phi Bien Tap Nu Dao Dien. Noi Dung Kong Doc Viet Tat Kak Tu Ma Phi Viet Day Du De Voiceover AI Doc Tot Doc Ni Dung Ding Twin Thun A Wit Circumflex M Ton Viet Ton 1 Don Kong Song Dong Va De Noi Dung Trong Cap Down Goak Vong. Vi Du Noi Dung Twin Thun A Wit Circumflex M Ton. Kong Tra RA Code, JSON, .NET, PGSQL. TTC Vit Bang Ting ANH Assistant. By the second month of their arrangement, the mansion no longer felt like a museum. The air had changed. Mark had started greeting the staff by name, fixing small things around the house, even coaxing a smile from Mrs. Porter, who rarely spoke. Eleanor noticed these things, though she never said it aloud. She would pass by the kitchen and find him helping the gardener carry crates of flowers, his sleeves rolled up, his laughter soft and unfamiliar in her home. It unsettled her in ways she could not admit. One evening, after another charity dinner, Eleanor invited Mark to the rooftop terrace. The city lights stretched endlessly below them. "You did well tonight," she said, handing him a glass of wine. "I am learning from the best," he replied. She smiled faintly. "Do not flatter me. I have not been the best at much lately." There was something in her tone, a crack in the marble. Mark turned toward her. "You were incredible up there. You spoke about rebuilding the scholarship fund like it actually mattered to you." Eleanor took a long sip before answering. "It used to. My husband and I started it together, but after he passed, it became politics." Her eyes softened. "You remind me of him sometimes. You still believe people are worth saving?" Mark looked at her, unsure what to say. Maybe we both forgot that for a while. For a moment, silence settled between them, not uncomfortable, just heavy with things unspoken. Then Eleanor straightened, the cool composure returning. "We should not blur the lines, Mr. Davis. This is still a contract." "I know," he said quietly, "but that does not mean it has to be lifeless." Her gaze lingered on him before she turned away. "Good night, Mark." The next morning, the house buzzed with preparation for the Brooks Foundation Gala, their biggest event of the year. Dozens of guests, reporters, and board members would attend. Eleanor's reputation depended on the night going perfectly. Mark spent the day rehearsing introductions, memorizing faces, and making sure everything aligned with her expectations. When the evening came, the ballroom glowed with chandeliers and crystal glasses. Cameras flashed, capturing Eleanor and Mark as they stepped onto the red carpet. She wore a silver gown that made her look almost ethereal. He offered his arm, and for once, she took it without hesitation. Inside, speeches began, laughter echoed, and music filled the air. But behind the glitter, tension brewed. A rival board member named Richard Kane approached, smirking. "Mrs. Brooks, your young husband is quite the sensation. Tell me, did you find him in a college auction?" The crowd chuckled. Eleanor's jaw tightened. Before she could respond, Mark stepped forward. "Actually, sir, she found me drowning in debt and decided I was worth rescuing. Not everyone has the courage to invest in people." The laughter died instantly. Richard's face reddened, and he excused himself. Eleanor looked at Mark, stunned. "You did not have to do that," she whispered. "Maybe not," he said, "but I wanted to." The night went smoothly after that, their dance carefully choreographed, their smiles real enough to fool anyone watching. But when the lights dimmed and the guests began to leave, Eleanor turned to him. "You handled yourself well," she said again. He smiled. "You have said that before." "Yes," she murmured, "but this time I mean it differently." For the first time since they met, she touched his hand not out of obligation, but something close to gratitude. The contact lasted only a second, yet it felt like the start of something neither of them could control. Outside, rain began to fall again, tapping softly on the grand windows, as if the world itself was listening to their fragile truce. User Viet Fan 6 Bam Sat Tai Lu, Content Mao 4.txt 800 Token. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Teep Noi Fan 5, No Dong Not Nan Vat Va Bio I Can, Twin Noi John Sa Cho Fu Hop. CHY Van Phong KY Thuet Viet Tra Lai Ket Qua De Lam Noi Dung YouTube Chu Kong Phi Bien Tap Nu Dao Dien. Noi Dung Kong Doc Viet Tat Kak Tu Ma Phi Viet Day Du De Voiceover AI Doc Tot Doc Ni Dung Ding Chuan Thun A with Circumflex M Ton Viet Ton 1 Don Kong Song Dong Va De Noi Dung Trong Cap Down Goak Phong. Phi Du Noi Dung Chuan Thun A with Circumflex M Ton. Kong Tra RA Code, JSON, .NET, PGSQL. TTC Vit Bang Ting ANH Assistant. After the gala, something between them began to shift in quiet, undeniable ways. Eleanor no longer spoke to Mark as if he were an employee, and Mark no longer felt like a stranger in her mansion. They began sharing morning coffee in the sunroom, talking about everything except the contract that bound them. It was during one of those mornings that Mark noticed the piano room door open again. Eleanor sat there, playing softly, the same melody he had heard that first night. He stood in the doorway, listening. When she stopped, she looked up and said, "You are early." He smiled. "I did not want to miss the music." For the first time, she laughed, not a polite laugh for the cameras, but a real one, light and unfamiliar. "I did not think anyone would want to hear an old woman practice." "You are not old," Mark said gently. "You are just guarded." Her fingers hovered over the keys, then fell into her lap. "Guarded is safer." He stepped closer. "Maybe. But it is lonely too." She said nothing, yet her silence felt like agreement. Later that week, they attended another business dinner. The evening was uneventful until Eleanor suddenly went pale mid-conversation, pressing a hand to her chest. Without hesitation, Mark guided her outside to breathe. "It is just stress," she insisted. "I am fine." But he stayed beside her until her heartbeat steadied. "You do not have to keep proving you are made of stone," he said quietly. Her eyes met his, something vulnerable flickering there. "Old habits die hard, Mr. Davis." "Then let me help you bury a few," he replied softly. After that night, their closeness grew in subtle gestures, shared smiles, passing touches, unspoken concern. The walls that once defined their deal began to crumble. One evening, while reviewing a folder in her study, Eleanor asked suddenly, "Why did you really agree to this arrangement?" Mark looked at her, honest and calm. "At first, it was survival. But now, I think it is something else." "What else?" she asked. "A chance," he said. "To become someone better than who I was." Her eyes softened. "You already are." She turned back to her papers quickly, as if the admission had escaped by accident. The next morning, they took a rare day off from public appearances. Eleanor suggested visiting the garden, something she had not done in years. They walked through rows of roses and ivy, sunlight spilling over the marble fountain. Mark noticed how the wind tugged at the edges of her scarf and reached out to fix it. She froze but did not move away. "You make it too easy to forget this is not real," she whispered. "Maybe that is because it feels real," he said. She looked at him for a long moment, her eyes searching for something she could not name, then stepped back. "We should go inside." That night, Mark lay awake replaying the day. He had crossed an invisible line, and he knew it. But for once, he did not regret it. Down the hall, Eleanor sat by her window, staring out into the rain, her reflection caught in the glass. For years, she had built her life on control and reputation, but one touch from him had shaken both. In the silence, she whispered to herself, "What have I done?" And for the first time, she was not sure if she wanted to undo it. User Viet Fan 7 Bam Sat Tai Lu, Content Mao 4.txt 600 Token. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Tip Noi Fan 6, No Dong Not Nan Vat Va Bio I Can, Twin Noi John Sa Cho Fu Hop. Chy Van Phong Ky Thuet Viet Tra Lai Ket Qua De Lam Noi Dung YouTube Chu Kong Phi Bien Tap Nu Dao Dien, Noi Dung Kong Doc Viet Tat Kak Tu Ma Phi Viet Day Du De Voiceover AI Doc Tot Doc Dot Ni Dung Ding Twin Thun A with Circumflex M Ton Viet Ton 1 Don Kong Song Dong Va De Noi Dung Trong Cap Down Goak Vong. Vi Du Noi Dung Twin Thun A with Circumflex M Ton. Kong Tra Ra Code, JSON, .NET, PGSQL. TTC Vit Bang Ting ANH Assistant. The shift between them could not stay hidden forever. Rumors began to spread through the company and the press. Photographs from the gala appeared online, headlines whispering about affection between the billionaire widow and her young husband. At first, Eleanor ignored them, but soon the board members began to question her judgment. During a morning meeting, Richard Kane, the same rival who had mocked Mark before, leaned forward across the long table. "People are starting to talk, Eleanor. They think your marriage was a publicity stunt to protect your shares." Perhaps you should make a statement, or better yet, dissolve the arrangement. His tone was oily and self-satisfied. Eleanor's jaw tightened. My personal life is not a matter for this board. Richard smirked. It becomes one when it affects our investors. If you want to maintain control, you need to prove this marriage is either legitimate or over. The room fell silent. Mark sat beside her, feeling the weight of every stare. That night, back at the mansion, he found her standing in the library, staring out at the storm. They are forcing your hand, he said quietly. If you deny them, they will destroy you in the press. She turned toward him, her expression hard. I have handled worse than gossip, Mark. Maybe, he replied, but this time, it is not just about them. It is about us. Her voice broke slightly. There is no us. There never was. It was a contract, remember? The word stung, sharper than she intended. He stepped closer, searching her face. You do not mean that. She looked away. It does not matter what I mean. I will call my lawyer tomorrow. We will end this before it goes too far. Too far? Mark said, his voice tight. You are afraid of what people will think, not of what you feel. She turned sharply, eyes glistening. You have no idea what I feel. The silence that followed was heavy and cruel. Mark's chest ached. You are right, he said finally. Maybe I do not. Because you never let anyone close enough to find out. He left before she could answer. Eleanor stood there alone, breathing hard, the sound of rain hitting the glass like applause from a cruel audience. The next morning, she woke to find the guest room empty. His clothes were gone, his phone left on the desk, the contract folded neatly beside it. A single line was written across the last page, I broke the rule. I fell in love. Her hand trembled as she held the paper. For years she had lived without emotion, without risk, but the emptiness that filled the house now was unbearable. Somewhere between business and loneliness, she had found something real and now she had lost it. User viet fan 8 bam sat tai lu, content mao 4.txt 600 token. Kong viet tren canvas. Tip noi fan 7, no dong not nan vat vabio I can, twinoi john sa chofu hop. Chy van fong ky thuit viet tra lai ket qua de lam noi dung YouTube chu kong phi bien tap nu dao dien. Noi dung kong doc viet tat kak tu ma phi viet day du de voiceover ai doc tot doc dot ni dung ding twin thun a with circumflex m ton viet ton one don kong song dong va de noi dung trong cap down goak fong. Phi du noi dung twin thun a with circumflex m ton. Kong tra ra code, JSON, net, PGSQL. TTC vit bang ting anh assistant 4 days, the Brooks estate felt hollow, like the echo of a song that had ended too soon. Eleanor buried herself in work, attending board meetings and public events with mechanical grace. She told herself she had done the right thing, that ending the arrangement was the only way to protect everything she had built. But late at night, when the mansion grew silent, she would catch herself listening for footsteps that never came. The piano stayed untouched, the garden untended. Even Mrs. Porter noticed the change. You should eat something, ma'am, she said gently one afternoon. Eleanor forced a smile. I am fine. But she was not fine. The emptiness had become unbearable. Then, one morning, her assistant Clara entered her office holding a newspaper. You need to see this. The front page showed a photo of Mark at a construction site, sleeves rolled up, surrounded by volunteers. The headline read, Former husband of Eleanor Brooks launches program to rebuild local homes. Eleanor stared at it, her chest tightening. The article explained that Mark had donated his settlement money to fund community housing for families in debt. No scandal, no bitterness, just quiet action. For the first time in years, Eleanor felt something crack open inside her: pride, regret, and a painful kind of admiration. That afternoon, she called for a press conference. The reporters filled the room, expecting denial or damage control. Instead, Eleanor stood at the podium, poised but softer than they had ever seen her. "Yes," she said clearly, "the rumors were true. My marriage began as a contract. But what no one seems to understand is that some contracts change you. They teach you what cannot be bought: kindness, patience, forgiveness." The room fell silent. "If you want a headline," she continued, "write this: I was the one who learned what love looks like." Cameras flashed wildly, but Eleanor did not flinch. Later that evening, she drove herself to the construction site without security or staff. The sun was setting behind the half-built houses, painting the sky in shades of gold and gray. Mark was there, helping a group of workers lift wooden beams. When he saw her, he froze. "Eleanor," he said quietly, wiping his hands on his jeans. "I did not expect—" "You never do," she interrupted, a small smile tugging at her lips. "You built all this?" "It seemed like the right thing to do," he replied. "Something that mattered." She nodded slowly. "It does." There was a long pause before she spoke again. "You were right, Mark. I was afraid. Not of losing control, of feeling again." His expression softened. "And now?" "Now," she said, stepping closer, "I am tired of pretending I do not miss you." The evening breeze caught her hair, the air heavy with sawdust and forgiveness. Mark exhaled slowly. "Then maybe we can start over without the contract this time." She looked at him, her eyes bright in the fading light. "Only if we write our own rules." For the first time, she reached for his hand. The touch was steady, warm, and real. User viet fan 9 ket tuk bam sat tai lu, content mao 4.txt 600 token. Kong viet tren canvas. Tip noi fan 8, no dong not nan vat va bio I can, twin noi john sa cho fu hop. Chy van fong ky thut viet tra lai ket qua de lam noi dung YouTube chu kong phi bien tap nu dao dien. Noi dung kong doc viet tat kak tu ma phi viet day du de voiceover ai doc tot doc dot ni dung ding twin thun a with circumflex m ton viet ton one don kong song dong va de noi dung trong cap down goak vong. Vi du noi dung twin thun a with circumflex m ton, kong tra ra code, JSON, net, PGSQL. TTC vit bang ting anh assistant. A year later, the garden of the Brooks estate looked nothing like it once had. The air that used to hang heavy with silence was now filled with laughter and the scent of blooming roses. Volunteers from Mark's foundation were setting up chairs across the lawn, preparing for what the papers had called a quiet wedding for two unlikely hearts. Eleanor stood by the fountain, watching the scene unfold. She wore a simple ivory dress, elegant but unpretentious. For once, she did not care about headlines or appearances. The woman who had once built walls of marble around her heart had learned to open the gates. Mrs. Porter approached, tears glistening in her eyes. "It is good to see you smiling again, ma'am." Eleanor smiled softly. "It feels good to mean it this time." A few steps away, Mark adjusted his tie, looking both nervous and at peace. When he saw her walking toward him, he forgot the crowd, the decorations, even the cameras. All he saw was her, no longer the woman who had hired him, but the one who had chosen him. As the officiant began to speak, the world seemed to quiet. "Eleanor, do you take this man not as part of a contract, but of your heart?" She looked into Mark's eyes and said, "I do. For the first time, I do." When it was his turn, Mark took her hands and said, "A year ago, I sold my freedom to save my family. I thought I was losing myself. Instead, I found the only person who ever made me feel free." The guests smiled, some wiping away tears. When the vows were done, Eleanor reached into her pocket and pulled out a small piece of folded paper. "Do you remember the contract?" she asked. "How could I forget?" he replied with a laugh. She unfolded the paper and handed it to him. At the bottom, under all the printed terms, a new line had been written in her handwriting, clause number 6, love, without expiration. Mark's throat tightened as he read the words. "This is the first contract I will never break. When they kissed, the applause rose through the garden, blending with the soft rustle of wind in the trees. The fountain behind them shimmered in the sunlight, catching droplets of water that looked almost like diamonds. Later, as the sun dipped low, Mark found her sitting on the stone bench where they had first talked months ago. "Do you ever think about how strange this all is?" he asked. Eleanor chuckled. "All the time. But maybe the best things in life start as mistakes." He nodded, pulling her hand into his. "Then this was the best mistake we ever made." They sat together as the first fireflies appeared in the dusk, the world around them quiet and full of promise. For the first time, neither of them needed a contract to feel secure. What they had was simple, imperfect, and completely real. User Kim Tra Lai Zem Ton Bo Noi Dong Qua 9 Fan Ko Tin Dong Not Va Lin Ket Mok Trian Trong Kung Mot Ka Trian Kong? Ko Elnb Chua? Ko Noi Dong Han Dong Now Bat Hop Ly Phi Tuk Ti Kong? Kim Tra Lai Zem De Dung Gu Fap Tiang On Cho Nuoi My Doc Zem Chua? Assistant Min De Doc Lai Ton Bo 9 Fan Qua Katrian, Fake Marriage Contract Relationship Mark Davis Eleanor Brooks, Ma Ban De U Ka Viet Theo Mao, Content Mao 4.txt Va Doi Chiu Tung Fan Theo Ba Nam Tu Chi Ban Dat Ra1 Tin Dong Not Lean Cat, 2 ELNB Emotional Logic Narrative Believability, 3 Tin Hien Tu Kan Gu Fap Tiang On Chuan Mai, Dui De La Bao Sao Chi Tit 1. TNH Dung Ent Lin KT Mike Truan Tong Quan Katrian Jumak Shuyan Sut 2 Fan 1 Den Fan 9. Kong Ko Loi Nai Kan, Kong Thay Doi Dot Ngap Doi John Hay Tin Kach Nan Vat. Lean Ket Theo Tien Trin Doi John Fan 12 Gioi Theomark 23, Sin Vien Giova Eleanor Brooks Nu Tai Po 71 Toi Loi De Gikoi Nu Hop Dong Mark Chap Nan Vi Gia Din. Fan 34 Han Le Lan Lung On Don V Beat Thursday Bat Dao Chui, Public Appearances, Zut Hien Cam Suk That Jua Hai Nu Oi. Fan 56 Tin Cam Dan Fat Trian Qua and Hung Bui Gala, M Nak. Koan Kok Cham Soc Trian Tu Gia sang that. Fan 7 Kung Hong Noi Tom, Tin Don, AP Luke Tu Hoi Dong Quan Tri Chia Ly. Fan 8 Han Trin Chuak Loi Tai Ngo Reveal Cam Suck That. Fan 9 Resolution Void Dam Koi That, Payoff Hop Dong, Clause Number 6 Love, Without Expiration. Dan Gia Mok Trian Thong Not 100. Kong Ko Kan Hok Chi Teet Now Lek Logic Timeline. Kong Lat Motif, Kong Nai POV, Kong Mat Continuity. Sufat Trian Nan Vat Character Art Quasie Hai Dian Ra Tu Nin, Twin Tin, Va Dung Mo Hin 9 Fan 2 Blueprint Qua File, Dang 4.txt. 2. ELNB Emotional Logic Narrative Believability Camp Suk Han 6 Mark Ban Dao Chap Nan Koi Vi Nia Viu, Dan Truong Ton, Hok Kachu Kong Du Kien Hop Ly Va Cam Dong. Eleanor Tu Nuoi Kim Sot, So Tun Thuong Hok Lai Catch Tin Tuong Cam Nan Ar Kon Chin, Logic Tom Ly Ro Rong. Moi Han Dong Duok, Gay Fan Ung Ket Qua, Hop Ly De Gi Koi Vap Luke Song Tai Va Ko Don Tuoi Gia. On Dong YV No, Mi Ben, Desperation. Dan Uv Kindness, Respect, Shared Loneliness. Chia Te Du So Hai Song Chung Va Cam Suck That. Quay Lai Sao Kai Nan Ra Gia Tri Con Nuoi. Kong Phai Gwyn Luke, Ket Tuk Tinu That, Hop Dong Trian Hoa Ton Loi Hua, Dan Gia ELNB Dat Chuan, Emotional Realism, Cam Suck That, Hop Ly, Mok Han Dong Fanung Logic. Kong Ko Fanung Bat Thuong, Kong Ko Byuk Nai Phi Tom Ly, Kong Bien Doi Tin Catch Phi Ly. Ton Bo Arc Dung, Fake Real Redemption Love. 3. Realism US English Grammar Check Hien Tuk Kong Ko Chi Tit Phi Tuk Ti Kong Siunin, Kong Melodrama Qua Te. Kong Han Dong Voly. Kak Tin Hung Gala, Song Tai, Board Meeting, Charity, Press Conference Du Sat Tuk Ti Doi Song Mai, Tuoi Eleanor 70s Va Mark 23 La Extreme and Hung Van Hop Motif, Contract Marriage Shock Factor, Thuong Thay Trong Kich Ban Cinematic Drama Mai. Nga Fap Gon Ngum Wa Fan Du Dung US English, Kong Contraction 6 Du Not Thay Vi Don't, Dong Voyu Ka Voiceover AI. Kong Loi Tense Narrative O Present Tense Cinematic Fu Hop Voi YouTube Storytelling Voice. Ka Truck Ka De Dang Zen Ka Dai Mu Ta Ka Non Cam Suk Tunin Kai Doc, Ku Fap Dung Chuan Mai Dung Double Quotation Marks, Dung Gat Ka, Kong Ko Loi V Article, Preposition, Hey So It's On You. Kong Ko Loi Logic Ngunia 6 Du Nu Dia Ly, Boy John, Thursday 2. KT Lun Tung Th Hang Muc Dan Jian Anzet Tin Dung Not Mok Trian Hon Chin Ka Truck 9 Fan Mok Lak, Lean Mok Tu Dao Den Koi. ELNB emotional logic narrative believability ro wrong hop ly cam suck fat tryon dung progression, kong phi ly. Realism cultural fitmine gukan, han 6, gon gufu hop van hoamai grammar voiceover flow chuan US English kong loi ku fab, de doc bang AI voice. Nu ban muon, min ko the tau fin ban voiceover polished, rut nib ka, kan bang hoi doc 1.0 x de kop jong AI namnamai trian doc fim non YouTube jung gwin noi dung, chi tin chin rhythm cho doc tunin han. Ban ko muon min tu kien ban du kong? User viet cho toi mo ta chuan seo voi ton bo by viet vua viet tren va zat hien dung 5 lon tu qua chin millionaire stories trong mo ta, kong ko gioi thu de la 9 fan. Van teep tuc viet bang tiang on. Ni dung ding chuan thun a with circumflex m ton viet ton 1 don kong song dong va de noi dung trong cap down goak vong. Vi du noi dung chuan thun a with circumflex m ton. Kong tra ra code, JSON, BNet, PGSQL 27. Ni dung viet ton 1 don kong song dong va de noi dung trong cap down goak vong. Vi du noi dung tiu. Kong tra ra code, JSON, BNet, PGSQL. TTC vit bang ting anh assistant. In this cinematic love drama, a struggling young man and a powerful businesswoman discover that the heart never follows a contract. This emotional journey blends heartbreak, redemption, and second chances in a story that redefines power, class, and love. Perfect for fans of millionaire stories, it captures how a fake marriage built on desperation turns into something real and deeply human. Through elegant storytelling, vivid emotion, and authentic dialogue, this tale reminds us that true wealth is not measured in status or money but in kindness and connection. The story's powerful transformation and romantic tension make it one of the most moving millionaire stories ever told, where love breaks through barriers of age, fear, and pride. Every moment unfolds with visual intensity and emotional truth, creating a masterpiece among modern millionaire stories. With themes of forgiveness and rebirth, it shows that even in the world of luxury and loneliness, a single act of compassion can change everything. Dive into this touching tale of vulnerability and courage that stands as one of today's most unforgettable millionaire stories. User Tuamuan Tao 12 Hinon Kio Nu Gioi Thu En Han Vi Noi Dung Tu De Chu De Kich Ban 9 Fan Qua Chung Ta De Viet. Hey Viet Cho Tua Outline V6 Can, U Ka On So 1 Va Tu La Mo Ta Kan Lin Quan Den Vi Dao Qua Tu Da, On So 3 Va For La Kan Gioi Thu Nu Chin Dang Lam Vik Trong Kuok Song Hung Gay. Can so 5 va 6 la can gioi thu nam chin dang lam vik trong kuok song hung gay. On so 7 va 8 ko su zut hien chung qua tu nuoi, on 910-1112 con lai ban tui chan fu hop theo kich ban. Lam sa de 12 on gep lai ton chui hin on gioi thu en han vi tu de nu gioi thu bo phim and Hong Kong doak load sai ket. On la can quay nu phim, kong caption, kong tu da. Hey Viet outline chi ti cho tung nan vat. Assistant rat hey ban dang muon tao chui 12 hin on cinematic new mot poster teaser slideshow gioi thu film, jup con gia, cam, duok tin then qua kich ban fake marriage contract relationship Mark Davis Eleanor Brooks ma kong spoil ending. Dui de la outline chi ti 12 can, gom mo tabio I can on sang tom ly nan vat han dong chin kem suk con gia nan duok, outline chui 12 nh cinematic, the contract of hearts, can 1, the proposal, lin quan vi dao tu de boy can chuan and no Brooks bistro, dem mua, on sang fan chiu tu qua kin, hoi nuok mo fu tren mat bon. Han dong Eleanor Brooks 70s, sang trong, lan lung goi phia truok, dat to gia han uoc len bon. Doi Dien, Mark Davis 23 Sung So, Jayat Noak Mua Roy 2 Tok Soang Koao. Kong Kite Song, Bat Ngo, On Den Vang Not Fa Zan Goi Kim Jiak, offer impossible to refuse. Can 2, think of it as a contract, boy can gok close up, to Jie Hop Dong Doak De Ne Kwa Bon. Can do La Bon Te Eleanor Deo Nan Kim Kwang, Va Bon Te Mark Dang Kung Lai. On Sang Soft Spotlight 2 Phia Kwa So, Fan Chiu Chu, Marriage Agreement. Tom ly bat din quiet din byuk got so fan. Can 3 gioi thu nu chin trong kuok song thuong not before the contract boy can van fong tang chow, Eleanor trong bo vest trang, dong truok tam kin lon nin soang ton fo. On sang on nong ban my fan chiu len guang, nan veo nep nan quan mat bu tuong qua gwin luk fa ko don. Han dong ko dat but ky hop dong kok, phia sao la hung nan vi nam nu nin ko voi su de chung. Cam suk nu gwyn ko dok ko tat ca, and hung trong rong. Can for Eleanor trong the gioi riang boy condemn, kon goi mot min trong fong kok lon, dan piano lang lu, ly ru vang chua cham wa. On sang on lua tu lo swoi hat len guang mat, goi noi met moi sao tam. Han dong gon te lut ne len phim dan and hung dong lai. Cam suk kio han nguai xa hoi, ko don trong bong toi. Can 5 gioi thu nam chin kuok song hung gay before meeting her boy can fong tro chat, dan neon uot. Mark dang gap ao somi siu, ben kan la dong sachlet va don no hok phi. Han dong on nin on mi tren bon, koi guang. On sang mao vang siu fa zan bu tuong qua hai vong trong con ko. Cam suk mot nuoi tu ti by ep veo byuk duong kung. Can 6 nam chin trong wa trong lam vik boy can mark lam ca dem tai team tap hoa, quet son, sao que la kok vio dan, on den huin quang met moi. Han dong on nin dong ho, mat trung sao. Cam suk con gia thay mot nuoi tung ko uocmo, na chi con tun tai. Can 7 lon dao zat hien kung now sao kai koi boy can fong dang ky ket han, nen trang lan, nan vien tu fap dang ky gia. Han dong Eleanor va mark dong can now, kong nin now, chi bat te. On sang trang lan hop dong han la han nan. Cam suk xa la, tuk dong, and hung ko tia, something might change. Can 8 public appearance first gala boy can santique sang trong, fong vien chup on lean tuc, ho dong song, Eleanor mim koi, mark nin enging. On sang flash den, on vang lung lin tren vei bac qua ko. Cam suk hin on hon hoen hung ben trong lot song tang va ko lap. Can 9 ko and kokim tam ket noi boy can san thuong dem kuya, ton fo lap lan ben dui. Han dong Eleanor va mark dong gon now, geo thoi bay top ko, on koyao koak dat len vi ko. On sang on den zanakam dione, goi cam suk that dang troy day. Cam suk amap lang tam byuknkot cam suk, can 10 conflict and silence boy can Thursday vien qua beat Thursday, hai nuoi dung o hai dao can fong lon, jua labon dai fu tai lu. On sang ongwan sang chia doi kung hin mot nua sang on, mot nua toi ko. Cam suk xa catch heo lam song tang truok chia te. Can 11 redemption realization boy can song truong song dong mark dang jup dong na, mo hoi va nu koi chan ton. Xa, Eleanor den, dong nin lang lu. On sang chiu vang on sang qua redemption and hope. Cam suk hoi sin nan ban ko nan ragia try that qua on. Can 12 forgiveness beginning kong low ending boy can bui hong han o ku vo on cu. Eleanor va mark dong nin now o koang catch vi byuk, bon te on dua are, ko dang chan chu. On sang on nong koi gay shuyen qua ton ke, na viam. Cam suk imo hai vong de con jia tu dat ka hoi, will they find real love? Tong the chui on ton mao sang trong, cinematic, tuong fan jualan im gray gold. Chu de cam suk, power, loneliness, kindness, redemption. Cam jiak tong the trailer bang on kong tit lo ket cuc, chi ha cam suk chien tu, hop dong lan leo, sang, tin nuoi that, ban ko muon min viet them prompt chi tit cho 12 on dan cho ai image generation gom camera angle, lens type, lighting setup, mood keywords de gui cho mid journey dal Leonardo tau hin on dong bo theo style fin my kong? User dao tn viet cho toa 1 prompt de tau on nan vat nam chin mang trang fuk fu hop theo kich ban, kong can noi 10 nan vat trong prompt. Kong noi 2 minor. Nan vat nai duok dan so Thursday 2 la 1 de lam so mak din cho su at hien trong can prompt sao nai. Twa muon kuon mat chua nuoi mai va on sang du tren ca kuon mat. Prompt tau hin wan en vat fi ko day du chi tit va mo ta 280 den 102 tiang viet, fong catch cinemar, kong koe I kok trong kung hin nguai nam chin. Moi prompt viet ton 1 don kong soang dong va de noi dung prompt trong cap down goak vong. Vi du 1, noi dung prompt. Kong tra ra code, JSON, net, PGSQL, luai prompt viet bang tiang viet assistant 1, mot nuoi dan ong mai koang 23 tuoi, dong chao gay and hung ran roy, my tok na sam hoi roy, on mat sao va chon that. On mak ao so mi trang don john de sun ko, koak ao vest zan navy vuavan, take him mot quan ho so cu. Fong nan la on sang dio tu qua so chiu du len guang mat on, lam noi bat v met moan hung ken din. Bu cam qua on la su fa tron jua hai vong va loo. Fong catch cinematic, on sang mem, chi ti chan tuk, tong mao lan faam, kong koe I kok trong kung hin. User dao tien viet cho toa 1 prompt a tau on nan vat nu chin mang trang fuk fu hop theo kich ban, kong can noi 10 nan vat trong prompt, kong noi 2 minor. Nan vat nai doak dan so Thursday tu la tu de lam so mak din cho suzat hien trong can prompt sao nai. Tuamuan kuan mat chuan my gokva on sang du tren ca kuan mat. Prompt tau hin wan en vat phi ko de du chi tit va mo ta 280 den 102 tiang viet, fong catch cinemar, kong koe I kok trong kung hin nguai nu chin. Moi prompt viet ton 1 don kong song dong va de noi dung prompt trong cap down goak vong. Vi du 1, noi dung prompt. Kong tra code, JSON, net, PGSQL, Luai prompt viet bang tiang viet assistant 2, mot nuoi fu nu my koang nguai 62 oi, fong tai kui 5 a 2 tin, my talk bac fa vang doak yin gong gong, guang mat ko duong net sak sa en hung tot len su tung tre va nan hao. Ba mak mot bo vei dai mao kem ket hop ao koak vest lua mao bi sang trong, deo tri ngoc tre ton lich. On sang mem va du chi len kuan mat, lam noi bat doi mat sao fan chuan nin kan gizan lon noi ko don. Fong nin la kong john fong lam vi kian dai, tong mao lan trong tin, fong catch cinematic, kong koe I kok trong kung hin. User OK, viet teep 1 prompt a tau nh thumbnail theo tu de qua noi dung. U ka viet prompt theo dung format prompt la de so Thursday 2 prompt va noi dung trong kung 1 cap down goak vong, sao du noi vo dao va viet so qua character zut hien trong can, 6 du trong prompt 1 ko su zut hien qua nan vat nam ma o tren min viet prompt nan vat nam la so 1 ti trong prompt a so 1 phia sao va trong cap down goak vong, ko tu nan vat hey 3 hey 4. Viet prompt moi can toi de 3 nan vat va toi thu 1 nan vat ti du de trong cap down goak vong cho min, 6 du 1, 3, 4. Vi du prompt dung chuan theo u ka qua min nu sao 1, noi dung prompt 1, 3, 4. Viet ben thuang kong JSON, kong code, kong sui gi lao, kong PSSQL, kong hoi them, luai prompt viet bang tiang viet assistant 3, on thumbnail cinematic voi tong mao vang dong va on sang na fan chiu qua so lon. Mot kung kan sang trong jua fong hop chow tang, noi nuoi dan ong tre trong bo vest zan navy dang dung doi dien nuoi fu nu lon toi mak ve lua mao kem. Hai on nin jiao now jua on sang fan chiu, tau kem jiak song tang en hung day kem suk, phia sao la kung kan ton fo mo swang, bu tuong cho koang catch jai tang va din man dang they doi. Fong catch dien on sang mem, chi ti chan tuk, mao sak trung hoa hien dai 1, 2 user OK, viet teep 8 prompt a tau nh1 den 8 theo outline 9 fan kong de load psychet. U ka viet moi prompt theo dung format prompt la de so Thursday 2 prompt va noi dung trong kung 1 cap down goak vong, sao du noi vo dao va viet so qua character zut hien trong can, 6 du trong prompt 1 ko su zut hien qua nan vat nam ma o tren min viet prompt nan vat nam la so 1 ti trong prompt a so 1 phia sao va trong cap down goak vong, ko tu nan vat hey 3 hey 4. Viet prompt moi can toi de 3 nan vat va toi thu 1 nan vat ti du de trong cap down goak vong cho min, 6 du 1, 3, 4. Vi du prompt dung chuan theo u ka qua min nu sao 1, noi dung prompt 1, 3, 4. Viet ben thuang kong JSON, kong code, kong sui gi lao, kong PSSQL, kong hoi them, luai prompt viet bang tiang viet, moi prompt viet at not 60 den 82 assistant 4, can dem mua trong chuan and no brooks bistro, on den vang fan chiu tren mat bon yut. Nuoi dan ong train goi doi dien nuoi fu nu lon tuoi kui phi, jua ho la to gia hop dong dat na inan. On sang dio lam noi ro bu cam song tang, doi mat on gap en gung, doi mat ba sak lan en hung buon. Kong john hep, koit safi boc len ne, kong kai dam chat cinematic, mao tong zan xam, goi koen kok quiet din din men 1, 2, 5, can bui sang trong van fong chow tang voi qua kin rong, nuoi fu nu lon tuoi mak vest trang dung enging nuoi nin song ton fo, on sang ban mai chiu du tren kuan mat ba. Tren bon la chong ho so va ke but mai bac, kong john tot lan su gwin luke, trat tu va ko dok, ton mao lan fa vang ne, fong catch dien goi kim jiak qua moti nuoi fu nu de ko tat ca en hung mat nim tin veo con nuoi 26, can ho no don so. On den vang yu chiu len guang mat nuoi dan ong tre dang goi ben bon go, take him on jia din siu. On mat gao somi trang hoi nan, vi mat tram tu va met moi. Phia sao la bi pi no, gia sach va tam rem rach ne bei trong geo. Kong John em en hung geo, on sang dio tap trong veo kuon mat the hien su kan kwang va hai vong trong angich kan 17, kan le ky ket han don John tai toa ti chin, fong nin tuong trang va on sang lan. Nui dan ong tre va nui fu nu lon tuoi dung kan now, kong nin now, jua ho la bon go va tap ho so de ky. Nan vien dung mo xa phia sao kong aronet. Hai nan vat chin doak chiu sang du, on sang tu tren chow tau kim jiak miam tuc, song tang and hung day and yv tuong lai kong chik chon 128, kan de teek sang trong fong qvu lon, nui fu nu lon tuoi mak ve da hoi bac tin ti, nui dan ong tre mak vest den lich lam dung ben kan. On den flash nap nai, dam dong mo xa, kan te ba dat ne len te on. Mao sak vang kim lung lin, on sang tu tran chow chiu suong lam noi bat ho jua dam dong. Kong kai xa hoa en hung lan leo, bu cam vua guang vua that 129, kan san thuong dem kuya, ton fo phia xamo trong on den. Nui dan ong tre koak au vest nem on nin tram tu, kon nui fu nu dung to lon kan, my talk bac lay na trong gia, on sang zan lam fa cam, tau kong kai ko dok va dio dong. On tien den, chong au koak len vi ba, on nin jiao now trong im lang. Kung hin cinematic, cam suk chon that va sao lang 1-2-10, kan fong hop lon voi on sang tu tran chiu suong bon dai. Nui fu nu lon tuang gui dao bon, on mat song tang, song quan la kak bong nui moen. Nui dan ong tre dung phia sao, doi te nam chat. Kong kai ap luke, on sang trang lan chia doi kung hin jua hai nui, bu tuong cho koang catch va mouth wan sap bung no. Fong catch dien on, tong mao exam bac, chi tit sak net 1-11, kan song truong nagwai troi bui chiu, on nong vang roi song nui dan ong tre dang nong ton go kung kak song nen mo xa phia sao. On mat gao somi zan te, mo hoi on len trenda, nu koi na zat hien tren kuon mat met moi. Xa, nui fu nu lon tuoi trong trang fuk john di dung quan sat lang lu, guang mat hien va suk dong. Mao sak am, on sang hong han, cam jiak chon tuk va nan ban 1-2.